The two ordinary hosts of this podcast are not professionals on parapsychology, extraterrestrials, cryptozoology, nor would they describe themselves as religious or prone to superstition. They'd also like to make it known that this show is not intended for children or those with sensitive sensibilities. Please listen at your own discretion. And remember, the truth is often anecdotal.
Wonderful. Okay. The assassination of Abraham Lincoln, the sinking of the RMS Titanic, the attacks of 9/11, and the death of Princess Diana. What do these things all have in common, aside from being very unfortunate? Each of these events, and many others like them, were all reportedly predicted to happen beforehand. Coincidence or not, the idea of seeing the future has been viewed as an eerie gift given to those who may or may not even want it. It would seem that any dream, random thought, or simple dissociative rabbit hole could end up being exactly what the future holds for any of us. The trick, of course, is to report those thoughts before that future arrives. Predictions, foresight, premonitions, visions of the future. The exact subject of this very episode. Hello, listeners. I am Mr. R.
And I'm Mr. X.
A pair of normal dudes.
Reading paranormal stories.
Mr. X, how do you predict this episode's going to go?
Hopefully better than some in the past.
Well,
I don't have foresight. I think I pitched this idea, this concept, and what I wanted to go for were psychic visions specifically. But it was hard to find just that. Even going into like psychic subreddits and stuff like that, it was just hard to have find stories where people talked about actual premonitions and stuff. So we just went with the vague visions of the future.
Right.
Mr. R, do you have visions of the future?
I don't. If reading through these taught me anything, it's that I have learned that what's that thing in the Matrix where you see the cat twice?
Deja vu.
Deja vu.
Mm-hmm.
If deja vu is visions of the future, then I've had lots of them, but don't remember the visions until they happen in real life.
Yeah, this episode could have easily been about deja vu because that's what was popping up 70% of the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do have a vision.
Okay.
That you're gonna go first this episode.
Oh my gosh, you're right. This first story is called "Have You Had a Dream? Have you had a dream that have predicted the future?" I was about to slip into that video of the little boy trying to. Have you ever had a dream?
Bring through it.
This was posted in r/paranormal from user Potato Kitten 520 as of 2 months ago. Let's see. This is short, right? I picked this one specifically because the comments were going to be the focus. I have had a few since I was a child. I'm not talking coincidental dreams, but scarily accurate dreams. It sounds crazy, but I've experienced it several times. And then there was a lot of comments on this one. But thanks to Mr. E, we've whittled down to a few of them that we can go through here.
So I like how this post is structured, where the actual call to action is just the title, and then the post itself is just it happens to me sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not much to add on their own end.
Yeah.
But comment number 1 on here from user IMADVZ says, "Dreams. Perhaps the ones that give you deja vu. But I've had 2 visions. I don't know why I'm giving them this voice. These aren't dreams, but they're basically images that seem to be projected into my brain. They lasted 1 second, but are so strong they ingrained into my memory. The first was a missile/rocket with a trail flying over a city on a cloudy day. Didn't make sense at the time. Random. A day or week later, the attacks on Ukraine started. The next was an overweight woman with a blonde pixie cut, in a hot pink nurse's outfit, yelling in fear, facing my direction as she covered her ear as blood ran down that one side of her face in a hospital reception. That one was weird, and I didn't understand it. The next morning, the Trump assassination attempt happened. she did look like a woman version of Trump. She was bleeding from the same side Trump was too. Weird stuff. I don't know why it was projected as a woman nurse and not Trump.
I don't know if we've learned anything from That So Raven. It's that you can never really tell what your predictions mean. Predictions. Jeez.
That's so funny. I was just thinking about that show. It wasn't related to this episode, but I was just thinking about that show.
Well, apparently you think of Raymond-Symoné a lot.
Look, she was important to my childhood.
Raven. Why did I say Raven?
Everybody loves Raven-Symoné. That's a crossover that should have happened.
Oh man, you can tell how this episode's going to go from our mental oxidation.
Oh no!
See, someone did respond to that comment.
Yes.
You want me to read that? Or...
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. This one is a response from Mint Blue Jay. I've gotten the exact thing before. In middle school, I was walking with a bucket of paint water and art when I saw a split-second vision of one of the boys randomly jump back as I walked by and crashed into me, spilling the water everywhere. I thought, no way. So usually like these visions are just kind of like split-second things, but this guy had time to think about it.
Yeah.
I thought, no way. So I thought of a snarky thing to say if it really happened and kept going. Sure enough, it happened exactly the way I saw it. Since then, what was the snarky remark?
Yeah, I want to know.
It doesn't say, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not there.
Since then, I've seen a few car accidents before they happen, though I'm never involved. I've honked at people and managed to prevent them.
Yeah, we need you, like, in force. What's that movie with, was it Tom Cruise?
Oh, Edge of Tomorrow?
No, the one where...
Oh, Minority Report?
Minority Report, that's the
Yeah.
one. I don't know. Mint Blue Jay probably can't see crimes before they happen, but like car crashes, that's kind of a big deal.
You're kind of hinting towards one of the next stories.
Ooh, okay. There are a few more comments if you want to go through those. Comment number 2 from Loser Abes. I think that's how you'd say that. Most of my dreams come to fruition, but they're generally so meaningless. I wish I knew a way to harness this power. For instance, I had a dream a few years ago that I got a baby donkey, but it got sick, so I took it out of the barn to nurse it back to health. 2 days later, my cousin, who recently moved with their family to start a farm, posted that they had gotten a baby donkey who had been sick that week, but they were nursing her successfully back to health. Interesting, but why? What's the point? I have dreams like this at least 3 times a week. Do you want to read that response?
The response here from Miss Killam Rocks. Hi, I am a psychic medium, and I feel that sometimes the divine will give us meaningless dreams to get us comfortable with our clairvoyance. We gain confidence via real-world confirmation. As your gift gets stronger, you may have other dreams that are wild, outlandish, scary, or seem so far-fetched that you might have doubted them if you hadn't had your practice premonitions.
Ah.
Just like the Trump nurse. Over time, you'll start to realize that some of your dreams feel different than others. That feeling will identify them as important premonitions. I hope this helps.
You know what, Miss Killam Rocks?
Yeah.
That does help. That helps us.
Yes, it helps us with content on our podcast. I'm not sure how much it helps loser Abes.
Loser Abes.
Loser Abes.
But yeah, moving forward, I think it's safe to, like, if we come across a premonition that to us seems a bit useless, that's because it was a practice one.
Yeah, that's what deja vu is. It's to see who the real ones are, who can hang and then get the important stuff that then go on to work for the president and
Right.
and predict gas prices, I guess. I don't know.
Hey, that's useful, I think. The last comment that Mr. E saved for us is comment number 3 for user Jackie B66 says, I once dreamt the winning lottery numbers. That day I picked up a ticket. 5 out were the same numbers. The only problem is it was a different state. Otherwise, I'd be a millionaire.
Sure, buddy. I think what they meant was that are lottery numbers 6 numbers?
I think
Not off
so.
the top of my head. But I think what they're saying is that 5 out of the 6 were correct. In which case,
Oh,
I don't think that would make you a multimillionaire. I think you only win like $1 million if you get one number shy,
sure.
depending on the number or whatever. But yeah, it's very convenient that he was in a different state. So then why buy the damn ticket?
Imagine dreaming. Let's not say it was like the lottery numbers, right? But like you get to prevent a national disaster, but you were unfortunately one state away.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And to prevent that natural disaster, you had to win the lottery so that you could have uber piles of cash
I
to
was
throw
gonna
at the
say,
problem, and now you're screwed because you're in the wrong state. This is why you should never travel.
okay, so last episode was anti-dog. Is this episode going to be anti-travel?
Last episode was not anti-dog. It was pro fight your dog for thumbs.
I guess there is a difference. Anti-dog or pro-fight your dog.
I do have one more thing to say about this story.
Yeah.
In that normally we'll try to avoid stories that revolve around dreams because dreams are dreams. They don't make any sense. If you
Sure.
even try to actually think about it, a dream is not going to make sense to you. You could probably put pieces together to make it make sense, but you're never going to remember your dreams properly. If we ever develop technology where we could record our dreams, they would just look like that weird, creepy AI crap that pops up as you scroll TikTok, where stuff just kind of shifts between odd shapes that never quite look
kind of
right.
morphs together, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't trust dreams, and I don't trust that your dreams can give you visions of the future. Maybe. I mean, I surely deja vu to me has always been like, oh, maybe I dreamt this before, you know? Um, in which case that would kind of be like a glimpse into the future, right? But
Right.
this is a paranormal facts-based podcast. And so we don't
Yeah.
trust dreams because those are
And dreams are very interpretable, right?
yeah.
To say like, I had this dream, therefore X, right? Not you, but as an example.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, if I had a dream and then weeks go by and then honestly, I would probably not even remember the dream.
Exactly, right? I mean, no, I will say I've had dreams before where I've woken up and I can remember having that exact dream years ago, maybe even like a decade ago. It's happened to me a lot. Sometimes it's like the dream I just had is picking up from that dream I had years ago, or at least it feels
Ooh.
that way. But I don't know. The fact that you're putting so much faith into a dream, especially when you think it's predicting something that you just witnessed, right? Like with the Trump thing, the assassination attempt, the guy could have just had a weird dream, saw the news, and was like, huh. He just put the pieces into that memory he had of a dream, which isn't even an
Oh.
actual memory, right? Because, there's that study that says that your memory is just the memory of the last time you thought about that memory, right? So it's just a never ending game of telephone with your own brain.
With yourself, right?
Yeah. So I don't know how much faith I put in dreams. I can see why you picked this one though, because almost all of the stories revolved around dreams. Like apparently people can only see the future in their dreams. So let's all just take that with a grain of salt. All right, but let's move on to the next one. This is my first story for this episode, and it's titled "I See Small Fragments of My Future" from the Paranormal subreddit by user etownsend28. This was from 6 years ago, and 6 years ago this person was 16, so that now makes them 48.
Perfect.
Okay, so I can see small bits of my future. I started seeing these fragments when I was about 5. I had a daydream where I was hanging out with a kid slightly younger than me, and we were in his backyard playing on a swing set. I thought it was a cool daydream that I made a new friend, and this daydream came true when I was 9. So let me stop right here real quick. he said that these visions started at 5. Didn't specify when this daydream was, but did specify the age he was when it came true. So that's like one of those things where it's like, how much time had passed, and how can you remember?
So it says I
after so
started seeing
long?
these fragments when I was about 5, so we could assume it was somewhere between 5 and 9.
Well, obviously, but okay, but it's because of this next sentence that I'm wondering this. So
Okay.
he says, or they say, we were in his backyard swinging and having the exact same conversation we had in my daydream. So how long ago was it? How can you remember exactly what the conversation was in your daydream?
And eventually that had to end, right? That conversation had to stop.
At some point, right?
Otherwise, you're
Keep
still
going.
living the daydream.
Yeah. So let's see. What does he say? Another strange dream I had was where I was sitting in a math class learning about fractions with a teacher I didn't know and kids I didn't know. I had that dream when I was 7, and that dream came true when I was 11 after I moved to a different state. But like, was it exactly like that dream, or
Okay,
I
so
need more info, you know?
if you remember that well, then you passed that math class, we can assume.
Well, so
You-
this
you
all the
already took
memories
the
are
lesson.
in handy here in what this kid wants to do for their future. So it says, continuing, I know these dreams are crazy, but I have no idea how to explain it. I have had some crazy dreams about my future career and college life after high school, such as becoming a lieutenant for a big city police department, getting shot in the line of duty, and going through the police academy. In that order.
Huh. In that order?
No, that's not actually what they said.
Oh, you wrote that.
It would be funny, yeah, if that's the order that he was like visioning it. Maybe the getting shot part is like, yeah, maybe it's going backwards. Maybe he gets shot before he becomes a lieutenant, and it's not something he has to worry that much about. I mean, I'm sure getting shot sucks, but
It can't
you
be
know,
great.
unless he starts out as a lieutenant, then gets shot, then has to go back through the police academy.
Whoa. What if him getting shot? Sorry, what if them getting shot?
It gives them amnesia, like Jason.
Amnesia?
And he has to start all over again.
He has to start all over, right?
Oh, no.
Or if we're going even further into this, into a weird theory, what if this shot, this gunshot, is sending memories backward in time? Yeah. I don't know what kind of gun this is.
His bullet is ripping through space and time to send him the little glimpses of his future.
Hey, just really quick, could you write down time bullet really quick?
Bullet.
Time bullet. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but I think I got something on my
anything
hands.
like a bullet time.
No. Bullet time is a real concept. We've seen it before, but time bullet, that's an assassination's like wet dream, right? You don't even have to be alive at the same time as the person you're trying to kill.
You just shoot backwards in time and hope it doesn't hit anyone else. And
yeah, I hope it doesn't hit your grandfather or at least a butterfly.
all right, let me finish this guy's post real quick.
Okay.
I hope the police academy and lieutenant ones come true. The getting shot, not so much. If anyone has experience with similar future visions or knows why this happened, please comment what you know.
What do you know?
So when I read this story, I was like, this sounds like a funny little TV show. Probably not funny. This would probably be something that was like taken very seriously on USA. And then I remembered that there was a show like this on USA called Psych, which was funny.
Oh, Psych. Oh, Psych is really funny.
Yeah. Although he wasn't an actual psychic, but
no, he was tricking everyone.
Yes. All right, so let's go into the comments here. The first comment just reads, time to pursue a different career path. To which the OP responded, not a chance, buddy. Being in law enforcement has been my dream since I was a little kid.
Clearly.
Which sounds like a cop response.
Yeah, what a narc.
Yeah, I mean, literally just the use of buddy. It sounds like a prick.
Oh, no.
Okay, let's see. Second comment here. I believe you, OP, because the same thing happens to me, and I don't realize it until I'm in the moment I dreamt about. Again with the dreams, like
yeah. I mean, we could talk, forever about that, right? Like we've already gone over it. You dream something, but do you?
Yeah, like I don't know, like when you wake up, the dreams already start to fade, right? It's not until
Oh,
you
immediately.
think back on something that you're like, oh, this is probably what my dream was about. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe your brain is just playing tricks on you. And I don't know, now you think you're psychic. I
What
don't
if they're not dreams?
know.
What if
We're all psychic and we've just been ignoring this
what if
ability this whole time?
dreams are the memories of not past lives, but parallel lives? So we're asleep and we can see through the eyes of another self.
Yeah, so it's like a window into a different universe.
Right.
Except I dream in the third person.
Oh, that's so. I do too. Well, I don't even dream in I don't dream about me. It's never me in the dream.
It's not a lot of times my dreams are about just other random people, but when I am in those dreams, it's in the third person.
How
And
interesting.
what? That might be because you know how I guess we mentioned this on a previous episode, but older generations used to dream in black and white because that the movies and TV were all in black and white. Maybe this generation dreams in third person, and this wouldn't really apply to me, but they dream in third person because they play so many video games.
Oh. Yeah, you don't play that many video games though.
No, not at all. But I do watch a lot of movies, so
That's true.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a perspective thing.
Maybe I don't. Next time, obviously you can't check now, but next time you have a dream, check to make sure that you aren't Jason Statham.
Jason Statham,
Yeah, from all those Jason Statham movies you watch.
like The Meg
Yeah, that's one.
or Revolver.
Can you name a third Jason Statham film?
I could. I'm not gonna.
Not going to.
All right. Last comment on this one. I'm also 16, and I dreamt of my great aunt's funeral when I was 9. She died in October 2018. I had strong deja vu the whole time, and I couldn't figure it out until I was walking along a path on the graveyard, and I saw this one specific flower that triggered the memory. I freaked out and had a panic attack. LOL.
So funny.
Like I said, this episode could have easily been about deja vu because it's what pops up so much. Also because I looked for a lot of these stories on Glitch in the Matrix because I figured, if anything, there's probably going to be a lot of people who are like, yo, I had a glitch and I saw the future very
Sure.
brief. But yeah, this one, a lot like the dreams, having a flower trigger the memory is almost exactly what I was talking about. Like, usually you'll dream about something, and something in the real world will kind of just trigger a memory that you probably never had because you just dreamt it. And I don't know. I mean, I've dreamed about people dying, but it was kind of more like a, I don't want this person to die kind of dream, you know? And they haven't died. So maybe I'm just a shitty psychic. I don't know.
That's a new TBS show, Shitty Psychic. So this, okay, so she was 16 whenever she wrote this. She had a dream of her great aunt's funeral when she was 9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 7 years, that's a long time.
So this was 6 years ago. Is this... Oh, man, hold on. Gotta have to do math now on an audio podcast. Why the fuck is that? Okay, I see. I was trying to subtract six years from 2025, which would just be 2019. I could do that in my head. But for some reason, when I typed it into my calculator, it said 2039. And I was like, holy shit. I missed a few years.
Guys, oh no.
I accidentally put 2045. So 2019. So their aunt died the previous year. So yeah, it had been 6 years since they had that vision. Okay, again, you have to have like a freaky good memory to be able to remember that much detail, I guess, of like a whole ass vision that you had years beforehand. Man, 16-year-olds. Brains aren't even developed.
What is it
yet.
with you?
They can remember everything.
It's been exactly 16 years since I've been 16, and I wouldn't for money interact with my past self.
Oh man, what was I doing at 16? I think I was just moving to Texas.
Oh, okay.
Does that
I,
sound right? Yes, I think so.
do I believe that this person had a panic attack at a funeral? Yes. Yes, I do.
Funeral, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do I believe that it was perhaps triggered by a familiar flower? Sure. It's going to take some convincing for me to believe that you had a vision of this exact moment when you were 9.
See, that's the one thing, is it's just the amount of time that's passed, right? If you had this vision, I don't know, last week, sure, I'd be like,
Oh, yeah.
crap, that's crazy, man. But just the fact that you're like in this moment where you're distraught, maybe. I don't know how close people are with their great aunts. I'm not close with most of my family. So,
Yeah.
they're distraught. They're kind of wandering this cemetery and come across this flower that maybe just reminds them of their aunt. Not necessarily this vision that they had, but then I don't know, maybe like a feeling comes back to them from when they were 9. Not necessarily that they remember a vision, but I don't know. There could be a lot of factors at play here. It's just wild to me that people go straight to, I had this vision. I mean, deja vu is one thing, right? I get deja vu all the time.
All the time.
But like that could essentially just be your brain thinking back on the thing that just happened, like just then, because the human body is stupid. But
Poor design.
Just it's wild to me that someone can say like, "Oh yeah, definitely had this vision, this exact vision 6 years ago."
So obviously, she said, sorry, they said that the flower triggered the memory. So for 7 years, this vision of your great aunt's funeral didn't occur to you. I don't know.
Yeah, and like I don't know, there'd have to be like specific details to let you know that it's your great aunt's funeral, or maybe you had a vision of a funeral, but you didn't know whose it was, and then I don't know, this flower makes you think that, oh, that must have been my great aunt. It's just the level of confidence that these people put into these comments that irked me.
Who are we to say that they're wrong? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I don't believe you.
Yeah, there's a difference. Yeah, I don't know. It's wild, man. I don't know what I was expecting when I went. No, I guess I was definitely expecting.
Yeah, no, this is
some harsh criticism, some harsh skepticism. There we go.
Yeah.
All right, before I lose a gasket, let's just move on to the next story.
Okay. So this next story was submitted on r/paranormal by user TKDP and a bear. I should have said that as TKD Panda Bear. It is titled Premonition While Driving Yesterday. I like this story. Have you had experiences like you feel something is going to happen and then it happens? When I was in middle school and with only landlines with no caller ID, sometimes I would have the feeling someone would call me, and then less than a minute later, I would get a call from those exact people, classmates, friends, etc.
That feeling is loneliness, right? It's just like, oh man, I wish somebody would call me. You're just lucky enough to have had friends.
Also, phone calls were way, way more popular back then.
Yeah, it was like you couldn't text your friend. I mean, now we just like constantly in contact with people, shooting text messages and stuff.
Yeah, not even on purpose.
Yeah,
right. It's not even an effort we have to put in.
I'm not sure what it was like back. Yeah, because I mean, when I was a teenager is when texting started to take off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I don't know what it was like being a teenager, where you can only call the person you want to talk to in that moment, right? Probably called people all the time.
All the time. Like for nothing. We had a baby, it's a boy. So one of my favorite stories of this kind of, I'm so sorry, I am interrupting my own story. One time I fancied a girl. We had the same birthday. Her name was Rosalia. And I fancied her and I wanted to call her. Now this was in Central Texas and she lived in a Mexican household. And we didn't have any cell phones. We just had landlines. So whenever I called, she gave me her number. When I called her house, it was a gamble, right?
Yeah.
There were like 13 people in that house. So the odds of her picking up were very slim. So I call, it rings a couple times. A man answers the phone. He says, "Bueno, I said, yeah, is Rosalia there? And he goes, Rosalia not here. And I said, okay, thank you, bye. And I hung up. And my mom was looking at me and she was like, why did you say it like that? But that was the risk of calling on landline. Okay. So, have you ever had this experience happen? I know when people are about to call me before they do, classmates, friends, etc. Okay. One time I was driving at night towards Dallas with my kids. Traffic was heavy on the freeway, and I had a feeling urging me to switch to a middle lane. I was passing on the left lane. We were going over a curve, and over a curve? Okay. And suddenly I saw headlights coming at me. It was a car that had spun and ended up facing the wrong way in my lane. I did an emergency swerve and barely missed that car going 70 miles per hour. That was over 15 years ago, and I called that event an angel whispering in my ear. That was my rationalization. I have tried to be vigilant to listen to those premonitions, but they have not come up that frequently anymore. I call that, quote, tuning into the universe time stream. LOL. Yesterday afternoon, I was driving to my son's college. Oh, wait, this story keeps going. I haven't read this part. Oh, no. Okay, yesterday afternoon, I was driving to my son's college. I was having the same feeling that time I was driving to Dallas that time. That's written weird. But in my mind, I started to visualize an accident where the hood of my car was all mangled and the car spinning out of control. And felt like butterflies in my stomach. I just felt uneasy and decided to take a deep breath and be vigilant. A few miles later, I saw a digital sign that read there was an accident and all lanes in the tollway were closed. I remembered the accident thoughts and changed to the right lane in case I needed to exit sooner than later to avoid this closure. Just as I was doing that, I saw the traffic slow down, and I was fortunate to be on the right lane already ready to exit. As I exited the highway, I looked over the accident area and saw two vehicles. Both looked like they lost control, and one had the hood all mangled up, just like in my mind's eye. I was a bit weirded out and told my son when I picked him up. That was very weird. Has anyone had similar premonitions?
So, you and I have lived in the DFW area. And we can testify that it's just a little voice in the back of your head that says people drive like fucking crazy in Dallas. So
yeah,
maybe always be ready for a guy driving the wrong way down the highway, which I've seen several times.
I guess it really depends on where you're driving. But the only way I could get to Dallas was to drive from Fort Worth, and that highway is Mad Max crazy.
It's all wild. Which I remember one time I was driving with a buddy. We were driving to the airport to get his sister, and we passed this car that had one of those giant highway signs, like the green ones that hang overhead that tell you like this exit's coming up soon. Keep an eye out for it. It literally fell on the hood of the car and like mangled it, but it looked like it fell like just before the windshield. So like these people's legs and stuff were fine. The people were fine. They were like standing outside talking on the phone and stuff. And I didn't have a vision of this, but I mean maybe those people did, and they fucking lucked out. Holy hell. It was a wild sight for sure.
I guess this is an important question. Have you ever been in like a really bad wreck?
No, I've never been in like a really bad accident.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask is simply because, like, I've been in a few car accidents, like, that the car has not left with me. Not once have I ever had a premonition about it, but constantly do I have paranoia about it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. You can kind of see it coming. You're like, maybe I should take this exit a little slower. I'm going to spin out and hit the sign. And then it happens. I can't say that it was a premonition. It was probably just common sense, right?
It's just like the next thing that had to happen.
Exactly. So let's see what these comments
have to say.
Let's go through these
pretty quick. Comment number 1 says, wow, that's crazy. I wish my premonitions were that accurate. For some reason, I think mine show up in my dreams, and it's never how I dreamt it. Okay, well, hold on. I don't know. Okay, so I can't even read the rest of this.
Well, let them elaborate.
Okay. I once had a dream where I was pregnant with a boy and woke up thinking I might be. That same day, I hear from a friend that they're expecting, and months later, they found out it was a boy. That's 50-50. Another dream was that it was raining oranges. The next morning on my way to my apartment, my neighbor dropped a bag of oranges from the top of the stairs and nearly hit me. There's been a lot of different ones from time to time, but I've never had premonitions that were accurate and while awake.
That's a lot like the donkey kid.
The donkey kid?
Yeah, the one who had the dream about having a donkky.
Oh, right.
got a
Okay,
donkey.
yes.
So it's always just slightly off.
I shoved that out of my memory. I was like, did we know a donkey kid?
Did we? We might have. Is Mr. E a donkey kid?
Mr. E. He might own a donkey. He owns chickens. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's burning.
I think it's really funny to say sometimes I have premonitions, but sometimes they end up not exactly how I predicted them. And in my mind, it was like, oh, today it's gonna be snowing.
Today it's gonna snowing and it.
And yeah, instead of snow, it was rain. Crazy how premonitions work. There's a comment to that. There's a response to that comment. Do you want to read that?
Yeah, from the OP, they responded, I've tried to listen to these thoughts and identify ones that may be off. Hard to remember, but the one driving was so vivid and worrisome that reminded me of the one I had years ago.
Comment 2. Huh. Yeah, we're moving on. I've had things happen while driving that were weird for sure, and definitely dreams I've written down that came to be very close to real life.
Wait, hold on. Is this person writing their dreams? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see what that. For a second, I thought they were dreaming while driving and then writing.
My dream this morning involved a car accident.
Then I got into one as I wrote this down.
Some exact. I'll read some of that again. Sure, definitely dreams that I've written down and come across to be very close to real life. Some exact. We need an unlimited budget on figuring that stuff out. I could think of 8 things I care about more than this right now.
I mean, it's like we were saying, right? We're all psychics. We just need to hone this skill so the human race can progress, and then we can shift closer into Minority Report. I don't know. I feel like there's an unlimited budget is a bit much, right? I'll give you $100 to figure it out.
I'll give you a cool Benjamin. I also like, what does it say? I've had things happen while driving that are weird for sure. Definitely dreams I've had written down that come very close to real life. But like, if I'm just dreaming about waking up and checking the mail, I'm not going to go check the mail the next morning and be like, oh, a premonition.
Well, it's like I said last week, right, in the Out of Bodies episode, is that sometimes I'll dream that I got up and started getting ready and then realized that I just fell back asleep. But I'm not like, oh, that's my future, because that's obviously what I'm going to do when I wake up. I'm going to go into the bathroom and brush my teeth. But like, I don't know. I guess I don't have as much faith in myself that I'm like this crazy powerful being that can
Well, you
see
are
the future.
powerful. What happens next?
I don't know. I was trying to yes and you.
I'm so sorry.
Well, that was all the comments on that one. So let's move on to the last story here. This one's titled, I saw a flash of the future and saved me from getting caught. This was posted in the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit by user AnyShit42069. This took place about a year and a half ago, before COVID times, when me and my mom had gone to pick up my grandma from a friend's house. Was it one of your grandma's friends or one of your friends?
Pick up my grandma from a friend's house. I assume a friend of the grandmother.
Yeah. It would be funny, though, if his grandma he was just, borrowing.
Hey, have you seen grandma? Oh, yeah. She's at David's right now. They're playing Call of Duty.
Yeah, she's baking him cookies and
loving him more.
Yeah. I was 16 at the time, and in my country, the minimum age for driving is 18. So I was driving illegally. When going back, I had a flash of a police officer stopping our car and telling me to come out. The vision lasted about 3 seconds before I came back to real life and immediately stopped the car, and my mom switched with me. We continued on, and when we approached that place, the police were exactly where I had imagined. I'd never seen the police in that area before. I knew where they usually stood, so I think I had a vision of the future. Okay. I like how you referred to the real. What did he say? When I came back to real life,
As opposed to that
So-
fake life I was thinking about.
let me throw a hypothetical out here, right? You're 16, you're driving illegally.
I'm driving.
You're
Ooh.
nervous, right? You're a nervous
Scared.
teenager, and you're like, what would happen if a cop stopped me? The cop would probably say, hey, step out of the car so we can have a quick chat, right? Why is this a wild...
It's not. It's exactly what I was saying
Yeah.
earlier, which is I don't think it is a premonition. I think it's paranoia. I think you are diving into a not worst case scenario, but a case scenario that could happen if you were to get pulled over.
It's just wild to immediately go to like, this is probably our most pessimistic
And you know what? That
episode, huh?
sucks.
So
I don't want to do that. Like, I want to believe these people, but there's so much that can be explained or like there's no proof to this.
There's things that there's a lot of things I don't believe, right? There are things that I want to believe in. I guess, like aliens, but
Jason Statham.
like seeing the future isn't one of those things. A third Jason Statham movie, seeing into the future isn't one of those things. I'm not one of those person who's like, oh, I want to go see a psychic or a clairvoyant or get my palms read. I'm not that interested in the future. Like, I'm interested in carving my own path into the future, right? Not having someone else tell me what happens. But like, if it is possible, if there are people out there who can predict the future, and sure, I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, they can't control it. Well, then what's the point of having the ability, right? I don't want to get into that so Raven, because we're about to.
Yeah.
But it's just like one of those things that, like, if you can see the future, use that ability. Like, use it to improve mankind. Like, don't just waste it on imagining that you're going to get caught by police, Can
we play a little scenario here? Okay.
Yeah.
You get out of work. You have to walk through the parking lot. It is pouring down rain. You've heard thunder all day, and you're dreading this walk. What's on your mind? What are you afraid of?
How cold it's going to be when I get in the car.
That's not what I thought you were going to say, but let's roll with it. So you grab, your stuff to leave work. You put on a coat. You grab an umbrella, and you think, God, I'm so scared of how cold it is. Or how cold it might be. Yeah, and then you go outside and it is cold. Is that a premonition? No.
No. It's like every day I get off work and I know I can envision it in my head, me climbing into my car in 20-degree weather and my seats being cold and my fucking ass and legs freezing as I wait for my car to warm up. I can envision that, and it happens every single time. That's not me predicting the future. That's just me anticipating what's going to happen because I've experienced it before.
I thought I was painting a picture that might allude you to lightning strikes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried I'm going to get struck by lightning walking to my car.
Well, that makes one of us.
Maybe if I was a Brazilian soccer team.
What?
Yeah, apparently soccer teams get taken out by lightning strikes.
That is a crazy statistic, and I'm going to have to look that up. What I was going to say was we all fear being struck by lightning in a storm, but only those who are struck by lightning and live get to say, I just saw it. I just saw it happening before it happened.
Then why didn't they prevent it, I mean, this person did. This person prevented.
But that means they didn't predict shit.
Yeah, exactly.
They saw a future that doesn't exist. Okay. Yes, sorry. Let's go.
Okay. Comment number 1. I once dreamt that there was a tornado while I was in history class, and we hid in the bathroom. The next day, we had a tornado drill during history class, and I had to sit next to the bathroom door. But the most bizarre dream I ever had was just of a lighter. Close up, the fire was being flicked on and off. Then I woke up to all of the fire alarms in my house going off. That's the end of the comment there. What the hell caused the fire alarms to go off? That would have been nice to know, Okay, I won't get into that one too much. I just wish there was more info. But, okay. Comment number 2 just says, this is from Mars Mango 5. That's So Raven theme starts playing. Now, I don't actually remember the theme song from That's So Raven off the top of my head, but I'm really glad that Ethan picked this, or Mr. E picked this comment, because there were several comments on here. I really wanted this one to be in it. So now we have to come up with a That's So Raven style mix-up / actual vision, premonition coming true. So this person saw a police officer telling him to step out of the car, right? What actually happens when the police officer asks him to step out of the car?
She throws up. He throws up. The cop throws up. Someone throws up.
Well, so yeah, if you remember that So Raven, her visions were never what she thought they were going to be. It's always the worst clip of what happens in the future. It's like, your dad
Right.
is dying. And then the actual thing ends up being, your dad is dying of embarrassment. Because
Your dad's dying to get to the bathroom, so let's leave this gala.
So, this cop stops this kid, asks them to step out of the car. Maybe it's not even from this drive, right? I mean, and that's So Raven, her visions happen like within a week span, right? Because it's a 22-minute long kid movie. But maybe this guy's seeing 2 years into the future when he is legally allowed to drive.
Oh.
But they're just a shitty driver. And so they're getting pulled over for a completely different reason. I don't know. We would not have been good That's So Raven writers.
You're right. I don't think I would have been on that team. I don't think that would have allowed me to.
Oh man, I thought you would have been better at this exercise with how much you reference Raven.
Look, I just think Raymond-Symoné and I weirdly enough also have the same birthday. And after talking about the phone call conversation earlier, that's kind of weird. But I remember when I found out that she was a lesbian, that I was just like, I was sad. Like, I was never going to have a chance. Like, me? Are you sure, Mr. R?
See, I think whenever that show was on, I was pretty young. I was probably like 8 or 9 or somewhere around that age. And I think she might have been like one of my first little celebrity crushes. Huh. Anyways, last comment here. I had something similar happen to me when I was a kid. Not as cool as yours, but I was on a school bus pulling up to school one morning, and I had a vision of coins stacked in the grass. Lo and behold, when I got off the bus and walked up the grassy hill on the way to school, I found a stack of coins exactly like what I had just
prove
seen.
it.
Yeah. This is the same dude with the lottery number thing. He's just making
the lottery one was like
up.
way higher stakes than a stack of coins, but
yeah. Hey, this guy got lunch.
That's valid.
From this premonition. So this is the one vision that actually amounted to something that wasn't sad or just wild.
And he got some coins out of it, and maybe he bought a stick of bubblegum. Can you buy individual sticks of bubblegum?
Or just a stick? I'm sure one stick is, I don't know, like a nickel or something. I don't know how. I don't get gum.
I get a lot of gum. Man, I'll tell you what. For Christmas, Rage's mother sent me 13 packets of the original Big League Chew. I'm rolling in bubblegum right now.
Okay, I don't have a whole lot more to say about that one or this story in general. So we do have one more little story, and this is a personal story from Mr. E, who apparently at the very last minute, when we were going over this script, told us that his mom has had dreams of like premonitions, also of people dying. But we'll get into it.
So we could agree. Before we start this, we're gonna try not to slam Mr. E's mother, right? I shouldn't have said it like that. No. I'm not saying I don't believe that these people believe. Right. Yes. That's a very good way to put that.
It's not even like I don't believe them kind of thing. I just don't care enough to be like, whoa, that's crazy, man, But yeah, okay, let's see. Mr. E says, my mom has always had vivid dreams. On several occasions, she'd had dreams about family members right before they had passed. The last time this happened, she had dreamed that her aunt was dying. And by the time she had this dream, it had happened enough times she knew something was wrong. The morning after the dream, she called my grandpa to see if he had heard from my mom's aunt and told him he needed to check on her. Exactly a week later, she had the exact same dream about her aunt. So she called her dad again to see if he checked on her. He had not. He'd called my mom's aunt 2 days later to find out that her husband, my mom's uncle, was in hospice with Lou Gehrig's disease. He died a week later. The time before she had a dream, one of her other uncles was dying. He passed a month later. Man, I really wouldn't want Mr. E's mom dreaming about me if this is the case. Sad stuff, too. Thanks for bringing it down.
Yeah, we're going to end on this note.
No, we're going to end on a different story.
The cats.
Okay. Yes, there's a little bit more here. that he posted about his mom. But we're going to save those for other episodes because I think those themes might fit
Okay.
another time. But let's see. This is one that personally Mr. E had, although he didn't quite describe it as a premonition, but as a literal act of God. So, when I was 4 or 5, there was a stray cat that was living under the house, and my parents were trying to get rid of it. I told them that God told me that they shouldn't be mean to that cat because there were 5 babies under there too. My mom said this happened before I could count to 5, but sure enough, there were 5 baby kittens under the house. So God spoke directly to Mr. E, which made me a little peeved, right? Because I'm like, Mr. E, we bring you on as a producer. You have this direct line to
And-
God, and yet here we are.
We're
still-
hearing about this now?
Yeah, and we're about to plead for views and comments, and he could have just asked God. to
Yeah,
help
throw
us
us
out here, so-
us a divine bone in the podcast realm.
Although he did specify that this is the only time God has ever
Right.
spoken to him. So he also specified that the way he wrote this is crazy. This eventually led to us having 13 kittens that my mom accidentally chopped up with her car before the following winter.
So
Jeez. Well, last week we were going hard on dogs, and this week Ethan just obliterates cats. Like,
we
holy
can't call this episode Ethan obliterates cats. What if it was
but-
our love for Raven-Symoné?
Our love for Raven-Symoné. Our love for
Raymond-Symoné.
Yeah.
Oh. Ugh.
Man. Well, thanks,
Yeah, thank
Ethan,
you.
for being technically our first submission.
Our first
That was.
what do we call that? Like a send-in, like a write-in?
We'll think of a spookier term for it in the future when we inevitably get more. When we're rolling in that podcast money. And
This is the one that's going to do it.
Yeah. This very pessimistic episode where we go pretty hard
People are going to be.
on the poor people who were not suspecting us to even make a podcast.
You know what I'm worried about, and I'll say this on air. I worry that our audience is going to be built out of people who are hardcore against paranormal stuff. Like,
Which I'm fine with. If people want to join us every week and have a good laugh about our what's the word I'm looking for? Denial, I guess. I don't know. And then you know what? Maybe there's going to be another subsection of the audience that hardcore believes in all this stuff and are laughing at us because we're sitting here trying to debunk this, right? And I'm fine with either one. Yeah, if you guys want to listen and do either of those two things, by all means. And tell friends, and then you can sit with your friends at a Whataburger and make fun of us.
man, you have reduced the size of
I'm
this
totally fine
audience.
Hey, there's Whataburger in a lot of places. All right, do we have any asks?
We do.
or
I
we
wasn't
wrapping-
sure if we'd have time for it, but I could totally send some.
Yeah, no, let's go ahead and.
Okay, number 1. Here we go.
Okay, first question. What's your extremely specific prediction of the future? You know what? I'm not sure I have visions of the future. I think I have concepts of a future. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. Concepts of a future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, any predictions for the future?
Concepts.
The-
Concepts
Gotcha,
of the
okay.
future. Yeah.
Here,
Timely
yes. Here you go, number 2.
What's one thing that almost everyone predicted wrong?
So I have an answer for this, and that's flying cars.
Oh yeah. Actually, the CES 2025, somebody was unveiling a flying car. And this is probably like the 58,000 flying car.
And like
someone's
a
unveiled,
flying car would
but,
be great. I'll just go ahead and put it on record. Mr. R thinks that flying cars would be great, but here's the fucking problem. And call it controversial. People can't drive as it is. Roads are hard enough. You think we're going to give civilians
Yeah.
air traffic rights?
Yeah, you think not having to find lines is going to be better?
Ugh. We're going to need
Yeah.
like drones that like line the way for people to drive, fly.
Oh man, what's something else? Space travel.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, not as much space travel as 50s fiction would have us believe.
Yeah. You know what? Martians. Mars.
Mars
Water
in
on
general.
Mars.
Not even real.
Yeah. H.G. Wells? What a
Idiot,
fucking
moron.
idiot.
What does HG stand for? Humongous goober? Okay.
No, I
Okay.
got nothing. Yeah.
Here's
All
number
right,
3.
You were visited by someone claiming to be you from the future. How do you make them prove they're you? What? What do you mean?
Okay, so
Like, this is a dumb question because someone nowadays can get enough information on you that they can prove that they're you regardless. What someone from the future with a worse memory than I have now is going to be able to prove to me that they're me by what? Predicting what I'm going to do in the next 10 seconds? Telling me what I ate for lunch last week? Because I'm not
Mr.
going to
X,
remember that. How are
I'm
they
going to
going
need you to play in the space.
They're going to have to tell me how
There
I got
you
these
go. That's what I was
scars.
going to say. I was literally going to say like oh, if you're me, then you go ahead and let me know how I got this scar.
So I have a very specific scar. So now I'm going to tell the story, and anybody can say
You're
they're me from
anybody.
the future. But I have this scar on the back of my hand. It's pretty long, and you would think that I did something really bad to my hand to get this scar. And sometimes, as a joke, I'll tell people that I saved my little brother from a dog that was attacking him or
How
something.
noble.
No, I literally got the scar. I was walking through a friend's yard, and they had like a lot of junk in their yard. And I was trying to scoot past something, and my hand grazed the little wooden part of a grill,
Oh,
like the little wooden part where you
Yeah.
put like the plates and stuff. It literally just grazed it. It didn't even bleed. It was like a scratch, and now it's a scar.
and that scratch has just been
I
there.
have. Yeah. So
Okay, well, if
can
you're
pretend to
Mr.
be
X from
me.
the future, you can't tell that story. And you certainly can't say you got it from saving your little brother.
Or maybe that's how I know.
Oh, right, yeah.
I don't know. The only other scar I have is on my knee. So if you're really me from the future, that's the one you're
Yeah,
gonna have to use to prove.
That's how it's going to have to
prove it.
happen.
Even though there was like 4 other witnesses.
You know
to
what?
how I got
Actually,
that
I do
scar.
want to pick a bone. You only have 2 scars on your whole body?
2 notable scars.
I have so many scars.
I have like just random little I don't know, more like divots, I guess. I only have 2 like notable scars, like the kind that like poke out of your skin. And actually, you know what? The one on my knee, I haven't noticed in a really long time, but that one's
That one might
as
not even
prominent
be
as it
there
used to be.
anymore.
Oh no, it's definitely there. That was I literally cut my kneecap
Oh,
open.
Jesus.
So, yeah.
Oh,
Anyways, I think
all
Do it.
right. That's going to have to do it for this Visions of the Future themed episode. If you have any supernatural stories of your own, you can submit them to us for this show in the comments below or on our Reddit. That is PONDPOD.
Yeah, and we've been a Paranormal Dudes, ever in need of stories to intrigue, perplex, maybe even frighten. So remember, if you can't explain it, think about it and post it in the future.
Well, that's how
I guess.
everything works.
Yeah. Anyways, till next time, stay tuned and stay haunted.